world, you're either a cat person or a dog person. And today, I decided to do a video for the kitty lovers out there and prove once and for all that cats are greater than dogs. To prove cat supremacy, today I will be trying to beat Pokemon Violet using only cat Pokemon. To help determine what a cat Pokemon is, I decided to use this list from Dexerto. As you can see, we have some awesome Pokemon to choose from, but it's not all perfect. A lot of these guys on this list are really not the strongest Pokemon in the world. And in case beating an entire game with little kitties wasn't hard enough, to make things even harder, I'm gonna be adding a whole bunch of extra rules on top of this already outrageously hard challenge. Will these fighting felines have what it takes to claw their way to victory? Let's find out. So for the people who have seen my challenge runs before, you know how this part goes. We wake up, say our goodbyes to mom, choose a starter that will inevitably get replaced, and wait, what? We don't actually need to replace our starter. That is very unusual, but yes, Sprigatito is undeniably a cat. For once in these runs, we can actually use the first Pokemon we get. So everyone, please welcome to the team, Orchid the Sprigatito. Man, Meowscarada is going to be great to have on the team later on, but I'm getting ahead of myself. First, we need to beat Nemona, which is super easy thanks to my super effective moves. Then we need to feed a sandwich to Hungry Miraidon and escape these dogs in the cave of Houndoom. Ta-ta, silly puppies! With that done, it was time to head to the academy, but before I could open the gates, our rival challenged us to another battle already. Nemona, it's been like 5 minutes. Can you just wait a little bit longer so I can actually play the game? No, okay. Well, the battle starts and predictably, Quaxley gets demolished yet again. But this time, Nemona has a new Pokemon and it's a little Pawmi. A dog-ish creature for us to destroy. But it's not that simple. If you've seen my runs before, you know Pawmi and its evolutions are a constant pain, and this time is no different. After terastallizing, even my super effective mud slaps don't do that much damage, and our speed is tied, so we can't even rely on that to win. After a few turns of back and forth slapping, we're both in the red, so the next hit wins. I prep to use another mud slap, and Pawmi hits first. Oh, but thanks to us throwing mud in his eyes, his accuracy is actually terrible, and he missed. We hit one final time, and victory is ours once again. It is too early in the game for us to be having such close calls. Oh my goodness, that is not awesome. This run might be way harder than I thought it was gonna be. Though, saying that, saving Penny from the grunts was a much easier time. Shroodle and Yungoos stood no chance.
You all probably know me for my adventures through Paldea and other parts of the Pokemon world, but recently I went on an adventure in the real world, through the dangerous land of Europe. And luckily before I left, I got hooked up with today's sponsor, Saley, an eSIM provider that takes the hassle out of getting cell service abroad. But you don't just have to take my word for it, take this guy's word for it.
Saley is an eSIM provider that makes it super easy to get cell service while you're traveling abroad. All you need to do is buy the eSIM and then hook it up to your phone. In 5 minutes, you're ready to go. You've got data internationally. I'm literally in the middle of the mountains, and this eSIM has been working flawlessly the entire time. I've visited 7 countries since I've been in Europe, and it has worked in every single one. They've got plans for over 190 countries, and they switch automatically between countries as you're traveling, so you don't have to worry about any roaming or overcharging or anything like that as you go through your journey. If you're planning on traveling abroad anytime soon, Saley's hooked us up with a 15% discount code. If you head to saley.com/Quinn, you can get it right there. Thank you to Saley for sponsoring today's video. Now back to walking.
But now that we've finally attended our first day at the academy, the tutorial section is complete. We can finally look into taking on the first gym. And, well, the first gym is a bug gym, which unfortunately is gonna be super effective against Orchid. So we need to catch a new cat. But looking at this list, which one do we even... Shinx. I'm getting Shinx. I love Shinx, okay? So with that decided, I headed to the east exit, and there he is! That was easy. Since I don't need to spend hours upon hours searching for a shiny one, this has been probably the easiest new team member I have ever gotten in one of these challenges in recent memory. What a nice, refreshing change. So I catch Shinx and name him Buttercup, and oh boy, this guy is gonna be great. With our new team member, all that's left to do now is battle some wild Pokemon until my team is up to level 15, and now we can take on Katie, the bug gym leader. So the battle starts with my new Buttercup up against Nimble, and pretty quickly we can see how this matchup is gonna go. One hit from Thunderfang and Nimble has already lost half of its HP. One more hit and we're on to Tarantula already. I decided to stick with Thunderfang again as it's doing pretty good damage, but after fighting 2 Pokemon, Buttercup is on the ropes. I can only get one more attack off before I have to gamble. My plan here is to switch to Orchid to sacrifice it so that we can get an Intimidate proc by switching back to Shinx. Orchid goes down according to plan and Intimidate goes off as Shinx comes back in, but Buttercup was on such low HP that there was no way that I was gonna win this attempt. That didn't go amazing, but what could I have done better? Well, how about getting an Oran Berry and giving it to Buttercup so we can heal up mid-battle? That sounds like it'll help a ton, but we can even go one step further. If we could teach Buttercup to use a Fire-type move, that would be super effective and absolutely make this battle easier. So that's what I did. I battled some wild Houndours to get some Houndour Fangs, then crafted the Fire Fang TM and taught it to Buttercup. All right, let's go again. We start off with the same matchup as before, but this time I use Fire Fang for an awesome one-hit KO. I use the move again against Tarantula, but unfortunately it survives. But that's okay. We still have our Oran Berry in reserve, and one more hit gets us onto Katie's final Pokemon, Teddiursa. I hit with Fire Fang again, and oh, Teddiursa is faster, and now Buttercup is down. Uh-oh. And of course, since Orchid is weak against Bug, we take our second loss. Okay, third try. Oh, it's raining. No way. Fire Fang is completely useless. Okay, fourth try. Okay, this isn't working. Something has got to change. Why is this fight so difficult? It shouldn't be this hard. It's the first gym leader. Okay, let's just catch another Pokemon. Orchid is great, but just isn't cutting it with this battle. So instead, let's find ourselves a Litleo. It shouldn't be too hard, right? Well, after traveling to the Pocopath Lighthouse, I headed north to... Wait, what the? A shiny Scatterbug just sitting here in the middle of the path? Why don't I get this luck when I do shiny challenges? What? Well, I'll catch it, but we can't use it, so whatever. Anyway, back to Litleo. I traveled further northeast, and after searching around for a surprisingly long time, like really, this took about an hour, I finally found one. And it's level 18. Yeah, so it turns out Litleo only spawns at level 18, so it's over-leveled automatically. So there goes that plan. I mean, unless a raid spot just happened to have a Litleo in it. Like out of all the possible raid Pokemon, it just happened to have the one Pokemon I was looking for so I could get one that's the right level. But that'd never happen, right? I mean, what are the chances? It's a Litleo raid. What? From the few raids that I can access right now on this specific day, at this specific time, there just happens to be a Litleo raid. That is absolutely insane, but thank you, Pokemon God. I, of course, take part in this raid, catch this miracle child, and name her Fire Lily. That was pretty crazy. Well, I swap out Orchid for now and once again start the battle against Katie. Here we go, Nimble is up first and boom, dead. Then Tarantula and boom, dead. And finally, the little gremlin that has been giving me so much trouble, Fire Lily, use Fire Fang. Oh, look at that damage. One more and the match is ours, finally. And that is a big accomplishment, but then I remembered it was just the first gym. As a reward for all our efforts, right after the battle, Buttercup is ready to evolve. Our boy is now Luxio. But why settle with just one power boost? I want to get another in the form of a new Pokemon. But which Pokemon, you ask? Well, none other than the sleek and shadowy Umbreon. So let's go catch an Eevee. Now, thankfully, this one didn't take nearly as long as the Litleo. That's partially because I increased the normal encounter rate with a sandwich, and right after I made the sandwich, Orchid decided to evolve. interesting timing, but I'm not complaining. We now have a Florigato, and that's pretty awesome. But back to Eevee. I managed to find one in Area 2 of the South Province, and while it took a little bit of tussling, I did manage to catch it and named him Morning Glory. But you know what? While we're here and still have the encounter buff, let's just get another one, just in case, right? So after a few minutes, I did just that and named it Foxglove. If you know why we named it this, then you can probably see the future because it's pretty obscure. But if you do, let me know down in the comments. With our newly evolved team and our new members, let's go test them out on the first Titan Cloth. The battle begins and I immediately go for a leafage attack. Unfortunately, Cloth is faster, so it strikes first, but oh, it does laughable damage. Silly crab, my Orchid is too strong and proves it with a devastating attack. It only takes 2 more hits and this tiny cat has beaten a gigantic Titan in a 1v1 battle. For phase 2, I do pretty much exactly the same thing, and thanks to the help of Arven, the crab goes down. My team seems pretty powerful now. But just to squash any doubts after this battle, I wait for nighttime, give Morning Glory some cuddles and a bath, and manage to get the happiness up enough that it evolves into an Umbreon. The dog has successfully transformed into a superior cat. With this new Dark Fighter, we are sure to be unstoppable. So let's go embarrass Brassius. First up, it's Fire Lily versus Petlil. And I can't imagine we're gonna have much trouble here with Fire Lily on our team. I hit first with Fire Fang and ooh! We don't quite get that one-hit kill. I try to fire off another one and we're asleep. Great. Maybe we will have some trouble here. Petlil starts to use Mega Drain, reducing our health and increasing its own while we sit here and sleep the turns away. Fortunately, we manage to wake up after just a few turns and land another Fire Fang for the KO. Up next is Smoliv, and this one goes much better. We just need one hit to take Smoliv out, but now it's time for the ace, Terra Sudowoodo. And this one has given me a lot of trouble in the past, but now we have Fire Lily. After 2 attacks, we manage to get Sudowoodo down below half HP before Fire Lily takes a big rock to the face. But that's okay, we still have plenty of Pokemon in reserve, and Morning Glory easily finishes the fight with a Snarl. And just like that, Brassius is done. And that was so much easier than Katie. How could that be the case? Up next is yet another Titan. This time, it's Bombardier. For phase 1, I used Fire Fang as much as I could until Lily finally fainted. Then I brought out Orchid for some fairy attacks, which are super effective against this dark type bird. For phase 2, I used Morning Glory's quick attack, and that's Bombardier done. Yeah. I mean, we did power up a ton earlier, so I'm not surprised that these fights are super easy. But next, I wanted to catch a Pokemon that I've had my eye on for quite a while. A Pokemon that I think is actually the most interesting one on the list, and that is Zangoose. And before you say, oh, Zangoose isn't a cat, well, Zangoose is almost definitely a ferret, and a ferret is a cat snake. Okay? Don't try to debate me, this is my video. What are you doing? You're just talking to a computer. I can't even hear you. With that settled, I traveled on over to the most southern part of Paldea in Area 5 and found myself a red cat ferret thing. And with that captured, it's now time to face our first Team Star group and its leader, Hakamo. I won't use Zangoose for this battle since he's a little over-leveled, but we should be okay anyway. As always, Hakamo's first Pokemon out is Pawniard while I send out Fire Lily. I think I know who's gonna win this exchange. 2 hits from Fire Fang and yep, Pawniard is out. The Starmobile puts up a bit more of a fight, but Orchid's low kicks were still doing a ton of damage. There was a close call where Orchid got left on 1 HP, but I still had 3 Pokemon left, so it was an easy cleanup for Buttercup. And that's Hakamo done, easy enough. Now it was almost time for the next gym battle, but first we have to beat Nemona yet again because she just won't stop butting in. Fire Lily, use Bulldoze, nice. Rockruff goes down, next is Palmy, but boom, Bulldoze again. And finally, Quaxwell gets easily beaten out by my own starter, Orchid. Remember this for next time, Nemona. You can't beat me no matter how hard you try. Anyway, next is Iono, which I purposefully went into underleveled because I didn't want to overlevel from the battles right before Iono, which are plentiful. But while tearing through them, we actually gained enough affection with Foxglove, and he evolved into a Sylveon, another dog transforming into something that is clearly a cat. With Perfect timing, might I add. A nice power boost right before the next gym battle. Speaking of, the battle starts with my Buttercup versus Iono's Wattrel. Electric versus an electric flying type. But because Wattrel is both electric and flying, it no longer resists electric type attacks. Funny how that works out, huh? And after just 2 sparks, Wattrel is down. Next out is my evil counterpart, an Imposter Luxio. Obviously, Spark would do pretty much nothing here, so I instead use Fire Fang to apply a burn. And once Luxio is burning, I switch to Fire Lily, use Bulldoze to deal a ton of damage, then start using Work Up to buff myself while Luxio slowly burns to a crisp. That's kind of dark, actually. Am I the bad guy? No! Now, Belly Bolt is pretty much the only reason I was buffing myself so much. This guy is an absolute tank. I want to get rid of him as fast as possible, and I'm dead. Okay, that didn't work out. Let's try Zangoose. Okay, low kick does reasonable damage, but not quite enough. My ferret cat goes down too. I'm kind of running out of Pokemon here, so I throw out Buttercup one more time for some Fire Fangs, which does actually get us past Belly Bolt, but can't do much against Miss Magus. Morning Glory, however, can slowly whittle it down with quick attacks when I'm not confused, that is. After far too many attacks, Miss Magus has a sliver of HP, and Foxglove can come in for the final hit. With Miss Magus down, that is Iono complete and another gym badge obtained. Now for the next battle, I had to prep a little bit. I knew Mela was going to be a tough one, so I wanted to get Rock Tomb for Zangoose and level my party up to around level 27. This took about an hour to do, but once it was done, I was confident I could take on Mela. I start by throwing out Fire Lily against Torkoal so I can make use of Dig. This allows me to avoid her fiery attacks while dealing some damage of my own. It's a close battle, but after a few turns, Fire Lily just about squeezes out a win. For the Starmobile, I stick with Fire Lily as long as I can, which is not very long. Then I bring out Zangoose for those famous Rock Tombs I was talking about. Since it's super effective, we managed to deal a ton of damage, but don't quite beat it just yet. But that's okay, we still have 4 Pokemon in reserve. So Buttercup and Morning Glory team up to get us the win. Whew! We've gotten through a lot of big battles so far, so I think it's time to take a short break and catch another Pokemon. And the next Pokemon I wanted was arguably the most famous cat Pokemon of all time. That's right, Meowth. It's hard not to love this little guy because of the anime, so in honor of Team Rocket's Meowth, I'll be naming this one Rocket Flower. This catch will be invaluable if we ever come across some ghost types. And after catching Meowth, I start to think it's almost strange how quick and easy it is to get a new party member in this challenge. I'm so used to hunting for shinies for hours and hours on end. This is so relaxing. I could get used to this. Anyway, with our new teammate, let's go take on the next Titan. Hi, Earthworm. Bye, Earthworm. I mean, even while underleveled, this fight has never really been an issue. Fire Lily and Buttercup were more than enough to take it out, and I still had 4 Pokemon in reserve. Nice and easy. And after some quick preparation, I don't think the next battle will give us too much trouble either. But before we can take on the next gym leader, Kofu, I do have a couple of things I want to get done. First, I wanted to stop off at Delibird Presents in Cascarafa and grab myself a Flabebe flower case for my phone, just because it matches our whole nickname scheme that we have going on. I thought it was a nice little detail. Okay, you don't care. Whatever, that's fine. But I also wanted to get my party up to level 30. This didn't take too long since I was only a few levels away, but while battling the wild Pokemon, Rocket Flower actually evolved into Persian. And I think it's about time we give Rocket Flower some time in the spotlight. So let's battle Kofu with our newly evolved Persian. My plan here was to use Trailblaze to get past Veluza and also increase my speed so I can hit Kofu's next Pokemon, Wugtrio, first. This wormy 3-headed thing is somehow a bit faster than Persian, so increasing my speed here should let me hit first. And Persian is dead, so it doesn't even matter. Anyway, Veluza is too strong, I guess. That's fine, Orchid is more than enough for, well, most of Kofu's Pokemon, so I wasn't really worried. Veluza faints, followed by Wugtrio, and then lastly, Crabominable. You'll get another chance, Rocket Flower, don't worry. But with that being said, that is another gym badge obtained. And that fight went pretty well, but this next fight is actually going to be extremely difficult. Atticus, being a poison user, is weak to ground and psychic attacks, but we don't have either of those. We could get another Eevee and get an Espeon, which is obviously another dog turning into a cat situation, but I don't want to just have a full team of evolutions. And sure, Litleo has some ground moves, but at this point his stats are on the low end, and he doesn't evolve until level 35, which we can't get to yet. So there's not much I can do here except get my party up to level and try my best. So that's what I did. And while leveling, my favorite Buttercup actually evolved into its final form, Luxray. One of my all-time favorites and one of the best looking Pokemon in the whole franchise is now mine. But here we go. Time for Atticus. The battle starts with Zangoose taking on Skuntank, but due to an unfortunate flinch, one too many sucker punches takes Zangoose out. I then bring out Rocket Flower for her redemption arc, and she just about squeezes out a win after using Payday. Next up is Muck, so I send out Buttercup for some spark attacks and get an easy KO here. And then things kinda start going downhill. The little Revavroom beats out Buttercup, then Morning Glory, then Fire Lily, and then the Starmobile finishes off my party. Not a great first try, but we did get to the Starmobile, so I think we can do this. Okay, second try, this time with Reflect and Psyshock. Nope, didn't help. Third time's the charm, right? This time with more Reflects and more Digs. Okay, I guess not. Man, this battle is always so hard. Like, how did they think this was okay to be in the game? But I know we can do this. Come on, one more try. Zangoose beats Skuntank with Dig, avoiding the sucker punches and dealing a ton of damage. Good. I keep this up against Muck, who does a lot of damage to us with Sludge Wave, but once again can't stand up to Dig. But now Zangoose is pretty low, so Revavroom finishes him off and I have to bring out Buttercup. A super effective Bulldoze does quite a bit of damage to us, but my Fire Fang does even more to him. It's a close battle, but unfortunately, due to our lower speed, Buttercup does fall first. Not a problem though, as Morning Glory can easily finish it off with the Snarl after setting up Reflect. And now we're in the best position so far. We have 4 Pokemon alive against this one Starmobile. This is it. It has to be. My plan? Charm this oversized car into loving us so that it can no longer damage us on the physical side. 1 charm, 2 charm, 3, which is as much as I can before Morning Glory succumbs to poison. And then the damage starts. Foxglove with the powerful Psyshocks, while the Revavroom barely does any damage because it's so charmed by our charismatic little kitties. After a few attacks, the Starmobile has just a sliver of health left before Foxglove faints. But we still have both Fire Lily and Rocket Flower to use. This is it! I bring out Rocket Flower for one final hit and woo! Atticus is finally done. Man, that was probably the most difficult fight so far, and it might actually be the most difficult one in the game. I am so glad that is over. And now that it's done, we can get a huge power boost, starting with finally evolving Fire Lily into Pyroar. This evolution gives her a massive boost to her stats and should make a lot of future fights way easier. And while I'm out here, I also got Orchid to evolve into his final form, Meowscarada, and it's about time. This evolution is a big one. We're absolutely going to destroy everything now. So let's go try out this new power on my good friend Larry. Since we also have to fight Nemona right after Larry, and I can't switch around my team, then I wanted to lead with Orchid since it'll be super effective against Nemona's Lycanroc, and all of Larry's Pokemon are normal types, so it doesn't really matter who we lead with for this. But back to the battle at hand. It's okay if Orchid faints quickly here, but he actually manages to beat out Kamala before going down to do Dunsparce. Once Foxglove is out, the plan can really begin. That's pretty much to just spam Reflect as much as I can. Larry's Pokemon like to use physical attack, so using Reflect and Charm a lot makes this fight a whole lot easier.
This is at least when we're not getting immobilized by paralysis.
Oh, really? 2 turns in a row? 3 turns? What? 4? What is going on? Guys, this doesn't sound that crazy, but I actually sat down and did the math for this. The chance of getting immobilized 4 times in a row is 1 in 20,736. That is insane. But once we actually started to attack again, this fight really wasn't too bad. Even Staraptor got one shot. And that's 5 badges down, 3 to go. But now, of course, it's Nemona time. As I set it up earlier, we start this battle with Orchid, which allows us to easily get past Lycanroc in just one hit. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the power of planning. Against Gumi, I stick with Orchid as long as possible, but really start doing damage with Foxglove. For Palmy, I set up Reflect again, and then swap to Fire Lily to beat it with Dig. And lastly, we have Quaquaval. And, well, I have Luxio, so Spark does a ton of damage right before I finish the fight with Foxglove. I don't want to speak too soon, but Nemona is kind of getting bodied in this challenge so far. That is kitty supremacy if I've ever seen it. After that battle, we are absolutely on a roll, and I'm not stopping here. Next up is Rhyme with the double battles. I didn't do too much prep for this fight. I did a few trainer battles to get up to level, but that's about it. For the fight itself, I thought I'd start with Orchid and Foxglove so I could use Night Slash to destroy Banette and Houndstone. I almost got a hit off on Toxtricity too, but Rhyme's ace was just a little bit too fast and hit me first. Orchid went down, so I had to bring out Fire Lily. Fortunately for me, Fire Lily also knows dark moves. 2 crunches later, and Toxtricity was down. Mimikyu, being the last enemy standing, couldn't really hold out long here, and we quickly got our next badge. Now, before rushing off to fight the next gym leader, I wanted to quickly take care of the Quaking Earth Titan. This is another battle that I've never really had a problem with before, and this time was no exception. Even being underleveled, I still destroyed it. Once that was done, Nemona once again challenged us, even though it's been like 5 minutes since our last battle, and it went pretty much the same as last time. Actually, this time was probably even easier since I saved Orchid to go against Quaquaval, which made beating Nemona's ace super easy. And the steamrolling doesn't stop here. Even Julep couldn't stand up against my team since I had a bunch of Pokemon that can use dark moves. Fruitdraft went down in one shot thanks to Night Slash, Gardevoir took a few blows but eventually fell to Shadow Ball, as Pathra also went down to Night Slash, and finally Florges was taken out by Bite. It was a really simple fight. I just used the most effective move at the time. Now Grusha is where things started to get a little more difficult again. I couldn't just dive right into this battle. I actually had to train up a little first and come up with a simple strategy. Grusha's Pokemon, being Ice types, are weak to Fire, Fighting, Rock, and Steel attacks, so I spent some time hunting wild Pokemon to craft the Fire Punch TM for Zangoose. I also had Orchid sit this battle out since he's super weak to Ice. Now the plan itself is actually very simple. Beartic and Cetitan are the big hitters that I'm actually worried about, so all I had to do was set up Reflect while fighting Frostmoth first. That's pretty much it. Reflect completely nerfs those 2 behemoths, so I didn't really have too much trouble. Frostmoth was easily beaten by Psyshock, then Flamethrower destroyed Beartic and Cetitan, with Reflect wearing off at the perfect time. And finally, a couple more Flamethrowers for the terastallized Altaria, and Fire Lily was the absolute MVP here. But this wouldn't have happened without Foxglove setting up Reflect, so let's not forget that. And right after getting our 8th and final gym badge, I wanted to take on Team Star's Ortega. Now sure, we don't have anything that's super effective against his fairy types, but I think it'd be a stretch to say that made things very difficult at all. After buffing up with Charge, Buttercup still did a ton of damage to Azumarill, then similarly, Rocket Flower destroyed Wigglytuff with Metal Claw. Well, she would have, but Ortega wouldn't stop using Charm over and over and over, so my attack damage actually got nerfed massively, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. We still got past Wigglytuff after using Rocket Flower, then Buttercup and Zangoose teamed up to take on Darkspun. With 3 minion Pokemon out of the way, the only one left was the Starmobile, and since I had 5 Pokemon left, this really wasn't a problem. It was a team effort, but eventually Buttercup got that final hit in. There's only one Team Star group left now, but first, let's beat the final Titan. I started the battle with Luxio, used Charge, and then attacked with Volt Switch. And, well, it's an amped up electric attack. You can probably guess how that went. Yeah, the Dragon Titan was pretty easy too. Even Tatsugiri wasn't an issue thanks to Drain Kiss. With the final Titan down, it was time to face Aerie, the last of the Team Star leaders, and this battle was quite scary, I'll be honest. Aerie is a fighting type trainer, and terrifyingly, 5 out of my 6 Pokemon are weak to fighting. This was going to be a very difficult fight. I either had to catch a whole new party or prepare and plan for the worst. So, of course, I wanted to try going the distance with my current team. So I spent some time getting Psychic Fangs and Fire Fang for Luxray. I also got Play Rough for Orchid and Rocket Flower in the hopes that maybe I could just outspeed and outdamage Airy. And let's see how that went. The battle begins with Luxray and actually goes pretty well. Toxicroak's Poison Jab doesn't do that much damage, and Buttercup's Psychic Fangs destroys the blue frog. Amazing. But then Passimian takes out Buttercup with one hit, as I feared. I did manage to set up Reflect to get past Passimian, Annihilate, and Lucario, but at that point I'd lost too many Pokemon and the Starmobile was too much to handle. But that's pretty good. We got pretty close. We just need to beat the Starmobile, so let's try again. This time with some defensive items equipped and a Choice Scarf on Orchid. 100,000 Pokédot! This better be worth it. Okay, Toxicroak, we know how this goes. One Psychic Fangs and Airy is down one Pokemon already. Passimian finishes off Buttercup, but that's okay. I have Foxglove. I set up Reflect, then attack with a super powerful Dazzling Gleam, and next up is Annihilate, who also takes a Dazzling Gleam to the face, then Lucario dies to a Play Rough. That increased speed from the Choice Scarf actually saved us big time there. I think the 100 Bandos was maybe worth it. Maybe. Regardless, we're in a great position here. We only need to take out the Starmobile and we still have 4 Pokemon left. But all I need is Orchid and Morning Glory to get us the win. And with one final hit, we've now beaten every Team Star group and we are ready to face the Elite Four. And honestly, thanks to the nature of this challenge, this might have been one of the easiest Elite Four runs I've had yet. Usually, I'm forced into using one specific type of Pokemon or at best dual types, but being limited to a theme of Pokemon rather than a single type is actually really freeing and allows me to counter almost anything that comes my way, including the various different types that the Elite Four present us with. Starting with Rika, who, being a ground type user, can be a bit of a pain to deal with, but with our team of cats, we can teach a lot of them water, grass, or ice attacks for that super effective bonus. Case in point, Orchid, being a grass type, can use Flower Trick, which absolutely obliterates Rika's entire team. Every single one goes down in 1 or 2 hits, even the Terrassalized Clodsire. Against Poppy, I can use Fire Lily's Flamethrower and Zangoose's Low Kick to decimate her Steel-type team, ending with Orchid's Low Kick, which gives us another easy win. Being able to use such a diverse type of Pokemon makes these fights almost trivial. Even against Larry, when Foxglove hit himself 3 times in confusion, we still destroy with Fire Lily, Buttercup, and Zangoose. I was even so confident in my party that I went into the Hassle battle under-leveled, which is probably why this one was actually a little bit difficult. Buttercup didn't have any trouble dealing damage to Noivern, but the lower speed did mean we took a lot of damage before getting the KO. Against Dragalge, he was faster, but didn't quite do enough damage to finish it in 1 hit. Dragalge hit back hard, and the poison meant Buttercup was out for the count. Fortunately, Foxglove also has super effective moves, so one more attack and we were on to Haxorus. I set up Reflect right before Foxglove was retired, then brought out Orchid so I could use Play Rough. This got me past Haxorus and let me switch to Rocket Flower against Flapple. Persian tried her best but couldn't quite land that last hit we needed. But not a problem, Fire Lily was definitely more than enough with Flamethrower, and now we're on to Hassle's final Pokemon, where things got a little bit closer. Fire Lily and Orchid both went down here and I was down to my last Pokemon. Baxcalibur was on a sliver of HP, so just 1 hit is all I needed. I just needed to outspeed it. I selected Crush Claw and we did it! Zangoose, the absolute beast. Oh, I've never loved the cat snake so much. Whew! That was closer than it needed to be, but that is the Elite Four done, and we can now take on Geeta. Can I become the best in Paldea? Let's find out. We begin with Morning Glory against Espathra with a back and forth of Snarl and Dazzling Gleam. This is a pretty close battle, but right before any of us land the last hit, I switch things up with Reflect. I thought that would be it for Morning Glory, but somehow he tanks 1 more hit and we actually take out Espathra. Go-Goat then finishes us off, but that gives me a clean swap to Fire Lily for even more flamethrowers. Of course, this stops Go-Goat in its tracks and then even takes out fought Avalugg. We are super close to beating King Gambit too, but one deadly Stone Edge is too much for Fire Lily. Zangoose easily finishes off King Gambit, and now we're actually in a really good position. We have 4 Pokemon left, and Geeta only has 2. I think we got this in the bag. Veluza's Liquidation does pretty decent damage to us, but it can't match up to our Crush Claw, as 2 hits takes us to the final Pokemon. Glamora, the time is up. Zangoose uses Low Kick and boom! 1/3 of Glamora's HP is gone. Sludge Wave does take us out, but I'm not worried. We still have 3 Pokemon. Orchid uses Flower Trick, and that's it. Glamora is down, Geeta is beaten, and we are the champion of Paldea, me and my little kitty friends. But of course, that's not the final challenge in this run. We still need to beat AI Turo and everything leading up to him. Now, I can't go into too much detail on these battles or this video will be way too long, and to be honest, it doesn't really make sense to anyway, since I didn't really have trouble with any of them, other than a few minor inconveniences. Arven is never really a problem, especially this time, as hilariously, he actually missed 3 attacks in a row when using Toedscruel. The inconvenience came when I didn't save after beating Arven, and I restarted the game, and then I had to fight him again. Yeah, that was a pain, but we did it once, and we easily did it again. Clive is a huge pain most of the time, actually, but this time the biggest threat was his Skeledirge, so getting past everything else wasn't too difficult, and I still had all 6 of my Pokemon to fight it with, so it wasn't an issue. Next up was Penny, and this ended up being a real cat fight. Get it? Cat? Because we use cat. No, but really, it was just a lot of switching to the best Pokemon and using the most effective move. My party was just better and stronger and cooler and faster and smarter and wiser, and you get the idea. Before my final battle with Nemona, I did have to level my party a bit, but once that was done, this went pretty much the same as every other Nemona battle. Lycanroc was easy after using Double Kick, Pawmot and Goodra got taken out by Play Rough, Orthworm couldn't handle the heat, Dudunsparce got snarled at, and finally Quaquaval obviously loses to Meowscarada. Nemona hadn't won a single battle against me, and it wasn't going to start now. But with all those battles complete, we can finally take on the last challenge, AI Turo. We start with Fire Lily versus Iron Moth. A Sludge Wave does some pretty hefty damage to us, but I return the favor with Dig. Boom! Iron Moth down in 1. I use Dig again against Iron Thorns, and oh my goodness, that's a lot of damage. Not quite enough to be fatal, and Fire Lily is finished off, but Zangoose never lets us down, and a Double Kick gets us through. Iron Hands is a bit of a scary one, so I swap out Foxglove and use Dazzling Gleam. Again, it does a ton of damage, but not quite enough, and Foxglove also goes down. This time I bring out Orchid for a Play Rough, and then use it on an Iron Jugulis. And this battle is a lot of back and forth as Orchid also gets taken out, and I have to bring out Buttercup. Man, this is really coming down to the wire. But I refuse to give up, and I refuse to fail here right at the end. Buttercup tanks a Dark Pulse like the machine he is and fires back with Ice Fang, defeating Iron Jugulis and getting us to Iron Bundle. But Buttercup isn't done yet. One massive Volt Switch attack absolutely crushes Iron Bundle, and we're on to Turo's final Pokemon. As soon as we beat Iron Valiant, we will have completed the challenge. I bring out Morning Glory for some more dig attacks, and oh, that was not very much damage at all. Okay, Buttercup, you can do it! Use Psychic Fangs! Oh, that's more like it, but Iron Valiant is faster, Buttercup is down, and we're down to our last Pokemon, Zangoose! We get hit again, and oh, I'm so low! Please, Crush Claw, do enough damage. Oh, yes! We did it! Oh, whew, that was close. But with Turo defeated, that is officially the challenge complete. Kitties reign supreme. Thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you loved it. Till next time.